So let's kind of transition now from the NBA over to the NFL. So mainly we're going to talk about the Steelers because a trade went down. Well, also, actually, I did want to bring up another thing that happened yesterday. So Garrett Wilson signed a contract extension. I mean, that's, Jet fans should be very happy about that. They need to add to that receiving core because it really is just Garrett Wilson and everybody else. I mean, I know they still have Alan Lazard and Malachi Corley. Did not have a great rookie season, so they need somebody. They need somebody else behind Garrett Wilson. But that was good to get him locked up long term. Now they just got to figure out the quarterback situation. I mean, he's reunited with Justin Fields this year, so we'll see how Fields steps into that role. But with the Steelers now, they made an interesting trade. They acquired Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, and they traded Minka Fitzpatrick in a 2027 fifth round draft pick. So that was an interesting trade. I would have felt better about this trade for the Steelers if they had Minka Fitzpatrick. Like if you had Minka Fitzpatrick, you have Darius Slay, you have Joey Porter Jr., and you have Jalen Ramsey. I would feel very good about that. Now, the Steelers, they still have Juan Thornhill. They have Deshaun Elliott. So it's not like they have nothing back there at the safety spots. But, Minka Fitzpatrick, when he first got to the Steelers, I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, he was a highlight reel when he first got there with the pick sixes. I mean, he was a playmaker. And then I feel like that kind of went away these last couple of seasons. He is getting older, but hey, Jalen Ramsey is old. Darius Slay is, Jalen Ramsey's 30. Darius Slay, is close to the end of his career. So, I think part of it was also to kind of move some money around because they also still have to pay TJ Watt, which I anticipate that they will get that done. I know he's been part of trade rumors, but TJ Watt's not going anywhere. TJ Watt is going to be a Steeler until proven otherwise. I mean, look at what happened with Myles Garrett. It looked like he wanted nothing to do with the Browns, and then the Browns offered him a ton of money, and he's going to be staying. So the Steelers are going to figure it out. They're not gonna part ways with T.J. Watt. But it is an interesting trade. I mean, the Steelers overall, I think they are going to be a decent team. They're going to hover around that 9-10 win mark, like they've had the past couple of seasons. It is going to come down to the health of Aaron Rodgers, I think, and how well he's going to play. Obviously, and I think we're going to see at least a better version of Aaron Rodgers than what we saw in Pittsburgh. I'm not saying that we're going to see, MVP Aaron Rodgers, but I think the Steelers, they got a better culture over there, and they're going to have a coach that's actually going to coach. You're not going to have Robert Saleh and then go to Jeff Ulbricht, halfway through, who was in over his head. So, and the Steelers' defense is usually good, and they made improvements to the defensive line this offseason through the draft. So, I mean, the defense for the Steelers is going to be good. The Jets' defense took a major step back last year, and they blew a lot of games at the very end, and that's part of the reason why they finished with the record they did. I don't think it's only on Aaron Rodgers and his level of play. It was a team effort, and the Jets not doing well last year. So, I mean, we'll see what this trade does for the Steelers, but you need, all the help you can get in the secondary because you have to deal with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and then, obviously you got to deal with, the tight ends for Baltimore and Zay Flowers, and now, DeAndre Hopkins, who's up there in age as well. He's, he got signed by the Ravens this offseason. You have to deal with Jerry Jeudy over in Cleveland, but who's going to be throwing to Jerry Jeudy? Because that is one heck of a quarterback room. So it is an interesting trade. Minka goes back home to the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I don't really know what to expect from them. This is a big year for them, and Mike McDaniel, he's on the hot seat. He's got to deliver. I mean, they got to make the playoffs and win a playoff game because they have failed to do that every year that he's been a head coach, and they didn't even make the playoffs last year. I think if Tua stays healthy, they probably do, but who knows if they even win a playoff game because they haven't done that. So, yeah, an interesting trade. What were your thoughts on this deal?
It caught me off guard for sure. Seeing such an all-pro safety and Minka Fitzpatrick going back to Miami, and I mean, as you said, his playmaking definitely went away. It did. These last 2, maybe 3 seasons, it wasn't as prominent as it once was. I feel the same way about Jalen Ramsey. Like, where has Jalen Ramsey really been the last 2 to 3 years? He's gotten old quick. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I think getting Jonnu Smith back in this deal obviously boosted it for the Steelers. I wasn't a huge fan of it, though, at first. Just because I felt that Minka was definitely still the better player, and that the Dolphins got the better player in this deal. But when you add Jonnu Smith with Jalen Ramsey, it definitely evened it out a little more for Pittsburgh. This new and improved Steelers team is going to be something to watch this year, obviously, between Rodgers, Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, as you said. But in some ways, it's like I feel like some of these guys that the Steelers have, especially when it comes to Rodgers and Slay, they're on the back end of their careers. No, Rodgers is at the end of his career. He's already said that this is going to be it. Like, I mean, he's not going to continue.
Yeah, this would have been a very good team 5 years ago. This would have been a Super Bowl contender 5 years ago.
Like, and I feel like there are some media professionals out there that are like, oh, watch out for the Steelers. I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to be.
I think they're going to be good.
They're going to be good, but are they going to be great, elite, like some of the other teams?
And especially in the AFC too.
Yeah, as you said, between the Bengals, who have hopes this year, the Ravens, who are at the top of the list to win a Super Bowl, they got to get it done one of these years. Personally, they'd be my pick right now, but that's just July 15th.
Save that for when we do a show in in September or in August.
We're gonna go back to this. July 15th, Ravens win the Super Bowl. Anyway, but yeah, the Chiefs are always there. The Ravens are always there. The Bills are always there. The Bengals will be back. Like that's what makes the AFC so insane. They have the best quarterbacks. They're the best conference. They really are. Because when you have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and all these other guys going at it every single year against each other, it's bound to change one of these years. Now the Chiefs just go to the Super Bowl every year, basically.
But they didn't win it. Don't forget, they did not win it last year.
So that means this year they will take a step back and lose in the AFC Championship. That's how it works. I don't know.
I might make a prediction and say they don't make it to the AFC Championship game at all.
Wow, interesting. I mean, I think this team will take a step back this year. I do.
They have to at some point.
It can't keep going. I mean, we've said it the last 5 years. Well,
ever since our freshman year at college, I mean, it's just been the Chiefs every single year in the championship game. There's not been 1 year since I've known you that they've not been in the championship game.
It is pretty incredible when you think about it. But yeah, like just on the note of the Steelers, though, again, it's just that, like we're saying here, it's like this is a good team. Are they going to be a great team? I can't see it. And honestly, Kenny, maybe this is just my perspective, but you talk about Mike McDaniel on the hot seat. How much longer is Mike Tomlin's leash going to last in Pittsburgh? Well, I mean, we're starting to get to that point where it's like the Steelers can't go 9-8 or 10-7 every year and be a
first round. It's been like that for a while.
It has been.
They haven't won a playoff game since the 2016-2017 season. That's how long it's been.
Wow. Yeah, and who could forget too? Wasn't it 2019 when they lost to Bortles and the Jags 45-42?
It was 2017-2018 season.
It was
2017 going into 2018.
That playoff game still comes to mind.
And they put up 42 points. I think Ben Roethlisberger had like 500 yards passing, but they were down like 28-0.
Exactly. That game still pops in my head all the time. Like,
yeah, they were not prepared for that game at all. They just let that Jaguars offense go up and down the field, and Ben turned it over once for a touchdown. Yeah, it was not a good game. Not a memorable game for Steelers fans.
Definitely not. But I don't know. That's just the way that I see it. It's like Mike Tomlin's leash is definitely starting to wear thin. I mean, look, he's a great coach. Like, if you've looked at the teams that he's pulled into the playoffs, Exhibit A last year. Like,
And even
it's amazing how this guy still finds a way
well, even
with
the
the
year
team.
before that, they had a combination of Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and then they put Mason Rudolph in the final 3 games of the season,
Yeah,
and that propelled them to the playoffs. And then they lost to Buffalo, obviously.
yeah, and that wasn't a great game either. And then you knew when they went down to Baltimore last year too that
Yeah, they weren't
this,
winning. They weren't winning that
yeah,
game. Derrick
no
Henry
way.
ran all over them. Like they had no they had no chance in that game. They had no chance.
Yeah, and so now the time moves on, and it's the Aaron Rodgers era, at least for 1 year.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm just curious to see what Aaron Rodgers has left in the tank. I mean, because obviously his mobility is all but really gone at this point. Like I feel like he's going to have to just be that pocket passer, and obviously he's got the weapon. He's got DK Metcalf to work with. He's got Jonnu Smith now. He's going to have playmakers around him, which is
I think
obviously
they
what
need at
you
least
want.
one more wide receiver.
They
And
do.
there's a few
They
veteran wide receivers out there. There's Amari Cooper. There's Keenan Allen. I would like to see them add at least one more guy. Now we could see a Allen Lazard trade at some point. You never know, but I would like to see them add at least one more weapon. I know they have some young guys like Calvin Austin showed you something last year. Roman Wilson, who they drafted out of Michigan, he didn't play at all last year. Really, he was hurt pretty much the whole year. They added Robert Woods, but Robert Woods is not the same Robert Woods from when he was with the Rams. They need somebody else. And you mentioned Jonnu Smith. Let's not forget they do have Pat Fryermuth as well. Rodgers is going to utilize the tight ends a lot. And they're going to have to use him in the running game too. Let's see how this running game is. With Caleb Johnson now in the fold, you got Jalen Warren. You still have him. They added Kenneth Gainwell. The biggest thing for me is they got to protect him. If they can give Rodgers time and he doesn't get knocked around like he did early on in the season, and then he was playing hurt for a large portion of the year last year, and then towards the end of the year is when he started to, show that he was healthy again. They got to make sure that they keep him upright. And this is a relatively young offensive line for the Steelers. So, that's one of the biggest things too, is they got to protect Aaron Rodgers. And I think another year removed from the Achilles, and he can still throw it. Now, like you said, the mobility is not there like it used to. Like, we're not going to see Aaron Rodgers, roll out and throw that pass like he did to Jared Cook. Like, you're not in the playoffs. We're not going to see that. But this guy can still throw the football. So, the biggest thing for me, like I said, protect him, give him time, and I think he'll do okay. So, and if you look at his overall numbers last year, like, obviously if you're watching the Jet games closely, like, yeah, maybe those numbers are a little skewed, but I mean, 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions is not bad. And he even said it on Pat McAfee once. Average years for him or down years for him are, career years for other players. So, that's not the exact quote, but you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, no, it's very true. So yeah, this is the last ride, and we're at a point now too, Kenny, where this is the end of our childhood. Basically, Aaron Rodgers is the last one, really.
yeah, I mean, you got Stafford, Flacco, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was quite the ride with the quarterbacks that we grew up watching. I mean, I'm going to be biased to say that's the best era of quarterbacks you're ever going to see, because because you got Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Peyton, Big Ben, Eli. You throw them all in there. It was a lot of fun, watching those guys. And I mean, the quarterbacks that we have now are super talented, but nothing's going to beat the 2010s. So
Don't think so. Yeah.